had recently blasted 10 billion tons of ash into the stratosphere, which was making England feel cold and rainy. Colder and rainier than usual, that is. And the Industrial Revolution was going full steam. This was a time of great invention, of science, of philosophy, which was making England feel like anything a person could imagine was possible. Right smack in the middle of this particular England were our heroines, Mary and Ada, who both had much bigger imaginations than the average person. And at the moment that our story begins, both girls were about to arrive at the very same party. Part 1, in which the frog croaks. 1. Mary. It was a dark and stormy night. Again. Mary peered out the carriage window at the black clouds gathering in the sky. Most nights had been dark and stormy lately, but Mary didn't mind the rain. Storms always made her want to write something. Something epic. Something terrible and wonderful and spine-tingling. But she didn't know what. Currently, she was amusing herself by imagining the clouds as a herd of wild horses galloping through the sky, streaming lightning behind them. As we've mentioned, Mary had quite the imagination. You'll see. What dreadful weather, remarked Mary's stepmother, leaning to look out the window too. Really, William, must we be going out in this? You know I hate getting wet. Mary sighed. Her wicked stepmother obviously didn't understand anything about finding the beauty in nature. It doesn't look too bad, her father responded cheerfully. At that moment, the thunder boomed so loudly it caused the walls of their shabby carriage to shudder. Then the sky opened and poured down rain. Mary's father was undeterred. We can't miss this party, my dears, he said, raising his voice to be heard over the deluge. It's such an honour to be invited. There was no arguing with that. They all knew that to be invited to a party at the house of Mr. Charles Babbage was no small thing. Mr. Babbage, a brilliant scientist and inventor, was very selective about who attended his soirees. Over the years, his guest list had included all the best minds in England. That Mary's father was receiving invitations to Babbage's parties again was a relief. It meant that the family hadn't fallen too far in the world's esteem, in spite of their recent money troubles. Perhaps it even meant, as her father hoped, that they were on the rise. Of course I know that, my darling, Mary's stepmother said with an elaborate sniff. But I don't care for Mr. Babbage. He's appallingly plain-spoken. He says what he thinks without a care for how it might be received. Mary, who had never before met Mr. Babbage, thought this would be a refreshing quality for a person to have. But her stepmother obviously didn't understand anything about people and their complexities. I quite like Mr. Babbage, said Mary's father, and there's always at least one reading from a famous author at these parties, and multiple scientific demonstrations. Mr. Babbage himself might reveal one of his latest inventions. This evening is sure to be exciting. Boom went the sky, followed by a stab of lightning that briefly illuminated the carriage. I don't care for exciting either. Mary's stepmother drew the curtains across the windows. Mary resisted the urge to roll her eyes. Of course her stepmother didn't understand anything about adventure. I'm keen to see all of the newest fashions, piped up Jane, Mary's only a tiny bit wicked stepsister, from beside her mother. I'll be content to simply go about looking at everyone, like they're an assortment of brightly coloured birds, and I, the happy ornithologist. She fiddled with one of the glossy curls that framed her face. I'm especially interested in specimens of the male variety. Said Mrs. Godwin. I do hope there will be a few appropriate young men.